Warning! The Amazing Digital Circus is for everyone, but this video is not. Swears here will be uncensored. In fact, I'm this close to going and putting back in everything Kane took out. Without further ado, a few notes on swearing in the Amazing Digital Circus.
What is going on?
Ignoring his mouth, Kane's censor bar is made of a % sign, a $sign, an exclamation mark, and a hashtag. It's not exactly the same, but it harkens back to the censorship style of a previous character Mr. Roshan has provided the voice for.
Hey everybody, it's me!
Spamton G. Spamton also uses a $sign and an exclamation mark for his swears. I'm not in a position to speculate if that's intentional, I just think it's cute. Bubble is partially capable of swearing without a censor bar, but his words still get bleeped. Despite this, Kane reacts as though he fluently understands what Bubble says, implying the same for all of the swearing parties in the circus. When Bubble is about to suggest the fucking beach party for the second time, Kane very slightly arches his gums in a manner reminiscent to scolding eyebrows. Obviously, he's had some words to Bubble off screen, and he correctly praises behaviour he wants to see more of. One could argue that Kane saying ass was allowed because he meant it as an alternative to donkey, and donkeys being a stereotypically stupid animal, but that might be pointless semantics when the intended joke is that he can say the word and the others can't.
Hi, I'm Ming.
Pomni cycles through 11 swears in the pilot, seemingly every one that she can think of. I personally think she should say cunt. Gummigoo appears to be more knowledgeable, or at least more consciously aware of the implications of adult toy, which do not occur to Chad. Gummigoo is always just a bit more clever than his mates, and it's because he's the 57% more immersive AI that Kane tries to sell to Tubal, and it shows! Even returned to his default state, he's the smart guy leader of the bandits. He gets it from his mum. None of that was about swears, I just wanted to talk about it. I'll make up for it by saying cunt again. The Gloink Queen's off-screen explanation of her reproductive cycle implies that a factual description of one, if dry enough, may go uncensored. But, since sex counts as a bad word according to Kane, it's entirely possible the Gloink Queen was being censored as she was speaking. We will never know if she was or not, because it doesn't matter. It's a joke at Pomni's expense about it being gross for her to hear that shit. Congratulations to Zubul for winning the award for Biggest Sailor Mouth! They also don't appear to be on the voting card for favourite character. Neither is Ming. Ragatha hardly swears, ever. I think it's just not her vibe. Most, if not all, of her mannerisms can be traced back to an abusive parent, and I imagine the policing of language was not a foreign concept to her upon entering the circus. She says damn when she hits the ball to Evil Pomni. She swears again shortly thereafter, telling Jax he's a dickhead, to which he does this, which is great. I think she should also say cunt. Bit of an interesting thing with damn. It gets censored everywhere except in Mildenhall Manor, where the Baron reports that his soul is in the Hall of the Damned. Indeed, it is, and it's even marked as such, but these don't appear to count as swears because it's being used hyper-literally. His soul is, biblically damned. It's possible that Mildenhall has this swearing restriction removed for the purposes of being more immersive and mature, like Kane claimed, but we also see that he deliberately tried to direct the players down the fake scary door to the Baroness. Like, he pretty clearly mislabeled the doors on purpose to make sure that the players went down one route and not the other one. Whatever the specifics going through Kane's head on this one, damn is permitted. Kinga calls out the spirit possessing Pomni as such, and it goes completely uncensored.
Get out of her, you damn evil souls!
This lends further credence to the idea that the players can theoretically do whatever as long as they're confident enough in their conviction. In a lucid state, Kinga knows this, but does not explain, and that's fine. He also says fuck, and that does get censored, so this is exclusively a damn thing. I knew that the whole time, I just wanted to posit the potential for a deliberate lack of censorship. In the D&D one-shot, which is not canon but is fantastic, there is a deliberate lack of censorship. The real-world reason for this is that it's the actors in real time, and they're human beings, and human beings swear, but we're maintaining kayfabe here. Kane acknowledges this choice explicitly, as well as the fact that it's not canon, which I have to emphasize for legal reasons. Evil Pomni using swears frequently in short succession may give the impression that normal Pomni does not do this, but let me direct you back to the Big 11. Pomni swears plenty, she just adjusts fairly quickly to the rule. Also, the evil versions of the players are not strict polar opposites to their reflectants. In believing that they are, you risk losing the capability of understanding the originals. These guys are Kane's impression of what is antithetical to his players, and he is liable to be wrong.
Another home run!
The fact that they swear at all when Kane never does kinda confirms he's not directly puppeteering his NPCs. I think that's been shown pretty clearly and repeatedly, but for some reason some people think he's directly behind every word that they ever say, and so they've put too much credence into the words of a certain guy who is the one who tells lies. Abel does not swear, but we can safely assume he'd be censored as well. The rule just isn't relevant to him. And yes, in all this, we must remember that it is a rule. This is a metaphysical policing of language that the players cannot opt out of, the same way they cannot choose how to represent themselves in the digital world. Despite Kane's protestations that Zibble can do it, even they are only limited to what pieces he has created for them. And I just want to take this moment to point out that absolutely none of them match each other. The players have not just had their bodily autonomy stripped from them, but they're being purposefully prevented from expressing themselves properly. Kane zips up Zibble's mouth that they don't have as a joke, but if he wanted to, he could just mute them. He could do that. So, in the face of this violation, we have Jax, the most savvy of the players, who appears to accept his existence and the restrictions that come with it. Gooseworks' original plan was for him to not swear at all, and this has a specific narrative purpose. Jax wants to feel cool and calm and completely in control of his situation. If he never swears, he doesn't have to be reminded of this unbreakable power Kane has over him. That's why it was so important for him to remember that Kane cannot affect the players' minds. I imagine that idea gave him a lot of comfort before he realized it was a dirty lie! Even when very upset and surprised, Jax still exclaims, "What the heck?" That's a lot of discipline in oneself to modify your personal vocabulary in this way. He has clearly mastered this practice. So, if he ever were to swear, it must have been because something went really wrong for him. I'm very glad that Gooseworks put these in. It wouldn't be the same without them. So that's just some notes on swearing in the digital circus. In conclusion, Gangle. I hadn't mentioned her at all by name, and I felt bad for leaving her out. She should also get to say cunt. Kane says that he's been cut off from the Macroverse. The computer we see in the pilot is completely unmanned. No one is giving Kane orders right now. No one is making him uphold the censorship. He is choosing to do this, and he knows the players don't like it, and he's doing it anyway! Alex! I agree with everything you said on Twitter. I fucking love the little guy, but oh my god, this isn't okay.